Okay, Burley, let's tell you about parts of the United Kingdom which are being severely affected by floodwater this afternoon caused by torrential rain following Storm Angus. These pictures show one street in Bristol where a number of vehicles were submerged. Residents described the road as looking like a river. Forecasters are warning of widespread heavy rain and showers for most parts of England over the next 36 hours. So that's the latest images that we are looking at. We're going to be speaking to our reporter Laura Bondock from the scene in just a few moments' time. Weathermen warning 36 hours of rain to come. Batten down those hatches. Let's have a look at the warnings the Environment Agency has issued. 35 flood warnings, which means immediate action is required as flooding is expected. 122 flood alerts, which means to be prepared as flooding is possible. Joining us now from central London is Alison Baptiste, who's a Director of Flooding at the Environment Agency. She's going to update us in a moment or two on the very latest situation, but the headline is that this is what's happened as a result of Storm Angus, and 36 hours of bad weather expected for most of the rest of the United Kingdom. So those poor people wading through that water. It's been described as a river by many of those who are living in this particular area of Bristol. That gentleman trying to retrieve what he possibly can from that car. Alison Baptiste joining us now, Director of Flooding at the Environment Agency. Hello to you, Alison. Talk to us about what's going on and what to expect.
Well, as you will have seen on the news, we've actually had a lot of very heavy weather coming across, and we are encouraging people to make sure they're aware if they are at flood risk, particularly if they're travelling through areas at risk of flood risk, and to make sure that those that they care about who may be vulnerable are aware of that and are taking actions to protect themselves and keep themselves safe. OK, so what's going on? This is all as a result of Storm Angus, is it? Well, Storm Angus has pretty much gone through now, and this is the second set of low pressure that's coming across the country. What we're seeing is that the winds are a bit lower than they were with Storm Angus, but we're actually seeing the rain being a bit more heavy and persistent, and it's slower moving, which means that we're getting heavier rainfall in certain locations. That means that we're getting a lot of surface water flooding, and the ground that's already wet in the southwest, in Devon in particular, and Somerset, that is causing some flooding locally, as we've seen with those cars in Bristol.
Yeah, and you're saying that that worse is to come. This is because it's been up on the mountains and it's coming down, or the bad weather is just going to continue on?
Well, the weather is moving from the southwest up into the northeast, and what we're seeing now is that the rain is pretty much moving on from the southwest and moving now into the Midlands and up into the northeast. So that should give a little bit of respite for Devon and Somerset, but we're now seeing the rain moving across into the Midlands and up into Yorkshire.
OK, so people up there need to be very much aware of that. And this is just the first storm of the season, which is why, presumably, it's called Angus. It doesn't bode well, does it?
Well, we start the naming of the storms, as you know, each year. Angus has been through and gone through already. This is the one that's following on behind, but I understand from the Met Office that we're going to be moving into a period of more settled weather from Wednesday and onwards for the rest of the week. So we really encourage your listeners to make sure that they know if they're at flood risk, particularly if they're travelling. Have a look on our website and see where there is flood risk, and be careful about your travelling. Do not walk or drive through floodwater. It can be very, very dangerous, and make sure you're aware of anyone who is close to you that may be vulnerable, and making sure that they're also aware and that they are safe.
OK, and just to clarify on the flood warnings, they go from what to what, and what do they each mean?
Okay. If you look on our website, on the gov.uk website, you will see a map and descriptions of all the flood warnings. We have 3 levels. We have flood alert, which is very much to say that flooding is likely, please be aware of it. Flood warning, which we know that flooding is happening and you need to take action to protect yourselves. And severe flood warning, when there is severe flooding and there may be risk to life, and we urge people to act now. So we do urge people to take them seriously, to look on our website and to see what warnings are in force. And to take action to protect themselves and their properties.
OK, good to talk to you. Thank you. Let's bring in Laura Bondock, who is in Bristol, where we're seeing quite a lot of these pictures already. And my goodness me, those poor people, their cars literally up to the steering wheel full of mucky water. They must be devastated.
Absolutely. I mean, this is the scene that greeted the residents of Whitchurch Lane here in the south of Bristol this morning. Such was the rapid onslaught of the rain last night that one man described how he woke up to go to work, opened his front door and found his car practically submerged by the water here. You can see a long line of cars totally caught unawares when the rains came down. There were 14 cars along this stretch of road submerged. I can see a little bit further up, I don't know if you can make it out, there's a red car. A family have been trying to take some things, some belongings out of that car in the last few minutes since we've been here. I don't think they'll be having much luck. A lot of these cars you simply cannot get to. The water must be several feet high here. It took the residents here completely by surprise. They didn't expect it. They are in their homes. It's not like they're completely cut off, but as you can imagine, local roads are closed here. And without sounding a bit too much like a traffic bulletin, there is traffic chaos in Bristol this evening. It's stopped raining now, but it has been on and off throughout the afternoon, and the trains are also affected as well. So services in and out of Bristol Parkway, the Cardiff line into London as well. We understand there are problems there as well. People are being warned to take care though. I know there are lots of people lined up along the edge of what is now a river essentially along this lane. They're being warned not to get too close though because of the risks of drains and the likes of that. But it's a tempting sight, isn't it, to come out and have a look. It's not often you wake up and find that your road is in fact a waterway.
That's very true. And the concern is that although the weather is moving east towards Yorkshire now, and there are some concerns with residents up there. I'm just looking at these people who are looking aghast at what's left of what was their road this time yesterday. It takes forever once this sort of thing has happened to start to get your belongings back together, to sort the car out, to worry about the house, and then you have to worry about what might be happening next.
Absolutely, and I think, you know, if you take a look at the situation here, it's going to take some time for the waters to go down. That's if this lull in the weather continues. You've then got to be able to access into the house. They're waving there at the wall, perhaps they're watching you, Kay. But you won't be able to get into these cars. You just simply cannot open the door. I wouldn't want to open the door if this was one of my cars because the water is higher than the bottom of the doors here. So I think people are just all they can do really is sit, stand, watch and wait for these waters to go down. There's little else for them to do at the moment.
OK, Laura, for now, thank you.